Why do men fail? Why do men fail? That's how I'm going to start. I'm already feeling the pressure. I'm starting to sweat. I'm not even going to welcome anybody. I'm just going to get straight to the topic. Why do men fail?
Because of insecurity.
What are you trying to say? I'm insecure? You know what? I'm going to leave the insecure issue alone. Welcome everybody to another edition of Real Talk, Straight Talk. The ladies are in the house. Once again, it's if you were here last week, you knew it was 3 against 1. And with the title aptly as Why Do Men Fail, I know tonight it's definitely 3 against 1. So I'm going to introduce the ladies. Fire, more fire, volcano. Welcome, Evody, Tammy, and I'm going to call her a newcomer because she hasn't been here for a while, Pastor Charmaine. Hi, Pastor Charmaine.
Hi, Colleen. How are you?
Oh, I'm good as good can be. Already feeling the pressure. Hi, Tammy.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Let me do the only good thing I'm going to do for this whole night. Evody.
There we go.
That's
There
it.
we go. Yeah.
That's it. That's my one good deed for the day. That's the only good thing that's going to come out of me today, right? Oh. How you doing, Evody?
Much better. I'm
Good.
glad to be back. Looks beautiful here. So, super excited for the show.
Oh, yeah, this is the first time you're seeing our backdrop. Well, the backdrop's only we only did it last week, so this is our second week, right? So
Yeah.
I'm actually loving the backdrop myself.
Yeah, it's really nice.
You know
really
what?
nice.
Let me.
Okay, yeah, take that for now.
You know what? I got to take all I can get in this episode, right? To everybody that's out there, you know, the last couple weeks we've been talking about relationships, right? This is another aspect of relationships. We're going to get to the real nitty-gritty. I'm going to let the ladies talk. Why do men fail? And actually, the question on the flyer and all the promo was 5 things that men still need to learn about relationships, right? 5 things men still need to learn about relationships. Now, to anybody else that's out there, the number is 519-694-3429. Hit us up. Let us know about, what you think are 5 things. We'll see if we can work it into the conversation. And I'm going to turn it over to the actual host of today, Miss Volcano.
Okay, so 5 things that men need to know, but that men don't know about relationships. I am actually going to, I'm going to give it to you to name them out, only because we were here and we were talking, and she's like, you know what, let's actually come up with them before we even start the show. So I want, and I know you had named a couple, and if you don't name them all, that's okay. We'll chip in also. But I didn't want to say all 5 of them because I'll look too harsh. It'll be too harsh. Don't leave that to me.
Oh.
So
Okay.
yeah, what are those 5 things?
I'll do a few and then we'll pass them around so
Okay.
we share, ladies.
Okay.
Sharing is caring. I'm gonna go with some of the reasons why men fail in relationship. Trauma, past history. I know that based on, grandparents and mother and father. Is he gone? That's mine. Oh, sorry. Sorry. They have trauma in regards to they've seen their father hit their mother, or they've seen their mother raise them on their own, and they just don't know what to do when it comes to relationships. So whatever they see in the past, they bring it forward, and they don't know any better. A lot of it is. It's
Trauma.
generational, pretty much generational curse is what I would call it. See the other one we said? Yeah. I'm going to say truth. They don't know their truth, their lies. Sometimes people don't know what is real and what's fiction when it comes to relationship.
Yeah.
I think nowadays, a lot of it's based on social media, what we think is real.
Or
and
the
what's
movies.
The movies.
Yeah.
And it's not, and then they don't know how to cope with it. That's 2. So your turn.
Okay. Okay, for me, I'll say one major one because there's so much in it, but mainly insecurities and being just not being able to manage insecurities adequately. So you see superiority complexes, you see narcissism, You see so many things that stem from a man that isn't able to deal with his insecurities. So where he falls short, in not being able to be honest about where he's falling short, what he needs, how, like if he needs help and like all this kind of stuff. So, and because of that, men don't realize how much it affects a woman in a relationship. Because if you're pretending to be something you're not, I don't know how to position myself as a woman in this relationship. So insecurity is huge for me. That's a big one for me.
I believe trust. Yes,
Trust.
I find men sometimes don't trust women because their behaviors, they're expecting others to mirror their behaviors, women to mirror their behaviors. So trust and believing in themselves. Because if you don't believe in yourself and you're not confident, that too can be a problem.
Right. So far we have insecurity, trust, not knowing their truth,
Yes,
and
truth,
lies.
yeah.
And then the first one you had said was
Trauma.
Trauma.
Which is a
Okay.
I'm
big
going to
one.
also say communication.
Communication, yeah.
That's the
Yes,
biggest
yes.
one.
One communication.
So we have that. Those are the five.
Oh, those are the 5. Where does mental health play in all this?
Well, the trauma.
Trauma.
That's a
Trauma
trauma.
would be,
That's a trauma.
trauma
It's
can go into
everything.
mental health.
It
yeah.
does. You're right. With everything, it does.
Everything is trauma.
But I think a lot of it stems. I'm going to say specifically with our people.
Yes.
It's generational curse. We
Yeah.
saw
Generational,
grandma do it. We
right,
saw
right.
grandpa do it. You know, a lot of I know islanders are raised by their grandparents, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't see mama or papa, or they're up here making money or foreign doing all these other things. So they didn't have their actual father's a male figure, or another parent could have been in jail or
Yeah.
passed away, or
You
and
know
a lot
what?
of us don't believe in therapy, so they bottle it and then they take it out. No, seriously,
Yeah.
they bottle it and they take it
Yeah.
out on whoever's closest to them.
You know what? As much as it can be confrontational, me asking the question, or the question being 5 reasons why men still fail in relationships, right? The good thing is you're actually explaining some of the better reasons why men fail, and I'm going to thank you for giving us some of the better reasons.
Oh, I can
right?
go savage if you want. lies,
You're actually taking on my role, right? So that's good. This is actually a conversation where I'm trying to listen to you guys, right? Because then next week I might turn around and say, well, listen, now that I got 5 reasons why men fail, let me tell you 5 reasons why women fail, right?
Okay.
But you know what? I'm not actually going to go there. I had to inject mental health because what?
Yeah.
Mental health has been such a focus for us on most of our episodes, right?
That's why I said the trauma. A lot of it's the trauma. It's past, present, future is all trauma for us.
And before we get to all the other wrong reasons, I'm going to get on the other one that might be semi-right upbringing. You are a product of your surroundings,
The environment.
your environment. That is such a big part, right? If you grow up and we all know this, right? It's not just happens with relationships. It's just life. Period. If you grow up experiencing certain things, it takes a lot of. I'm not even going to say manpower. I don't think that's the right word, especially in 2021. It just takes a lot of power, period, right?
To change.
Right? So,
But you could still say manpower, because something that I'm even realizing, we should put 5 things plus. Because as you're talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many.
more, yeah.
Because something huge is going on the trauma, going on the upbringing, is the lack of mentorship for
Right.
young men growing into, like young boys growing into men. Because I'm like, first of all, we have to know what is a relationship. What is your role in a relationship, and how do you fulfill that role properly? Where are the examples of that? If we, like we had spoken about before, if you just seen someone, you saw your father do it, or there's a lot of single moms out there, and as much as we're doing the best we can, we
Yes.
don't know what it means to be a man. We know
Yes.
how
So
a woman
this
is
to be-
supposed
yeah.
to treat a man, but we don't know how that. So that's huge. So it does take a lot of manpower in the
Yeah.
sense of, where are the men? Men are failing us women because you need to band together and help these young boys become men and not create that same cycle.
Yeah, where it takes a village.
And that goes back
we
to
don't have
kind of
the
like the
village.
breakdown of the family dynamic in such a big way, right? I hate to go all the way back and you know what? I'm gonna leave that one alone for now. But as we continue to talk about, you know, the roles, and you say where are the men, but it's been going on for so long, and I think now you see more of it because you see more single families. So you're not seeing the role models, right? You're not seeing how many people know and married people that have lasted as long as maybe my grandparents were married for what, 50 years, 50, almost 60 years, right? And the only reason that marriage ended, unfortunately, was my grandfather died, and the backstory there was my grandmother got sick. My grandfather, for his love, didn't think, when the doctors said my grandmother wasn't going to make it, he gave up right there because he had a stroke. And I think I've talked about some of my childhood and my upbringing here, and part of it was like I didn't grow up with my parents. I grew up with my grandparents. My grandfather had a stroke, so he wasn't able to deal with me the way I need, you know. And it's unfortunate. My mom had already gone abroad. She was working like 2-3 jobs. I didn't know it at the time. So she was working to get me to Canada and all that stuff. And I have an older brother and all that stuff. So
See? Like I said that. Like I said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the generational.
Generational, right? But he died, like I said, because my grandmother got sick. Doctor said, once again, she wasn't going to make it. He literally gave up, and that was the power of love. Now, my grandmother recovered, and that's it. Yeah, and that's the other side aspect of it. She recovered. She actually lived for, I think, about another 15 years.
Wow.
Nice.
Right? She actually came to Canada. I remember her coming to Canada for like, she wouldn't leave. She came to Canada for a couple weeks, right? But she lived. Now, I'm very fortunate in that when he died, he was already close to 80. He was in his 80s. My grandmother, obviously, you can tell, you know, she lived until close to 90, I believe.
Wow.
90, yeah, something like that, right? So the lives are good, but the tragedy and the love and the togetherness, right? He didn't make that the generational gap didn't allow him to impart some of that. And not only the generational gap, the timing. He wasn't exactly in the best health, right?
Yeah.
But he did good, because I remember him taking me for walks until one day, like, I ran and broke my collarbone and all that stuff, you know. But I'm just taking the relationship factor, and it didn't make that impression on me until
Later.
much later, because because of the generational gap, I kind of grew up in myself, right? And I think I was having a conversation with Devotee and then back a couple of weeks ago, and I said, yeah, I really grew up in myself. So there's certain things that I didn't learn the way I should have learned, right? And I'm not using that to make any excuses, but that's just a reality that I've had to face and come to terms with. But that's mine is a different story, right?
But you're so right in what you say, because when I look in my family, even if the family was married, the men were they in the home, because you can still be married and still be absent.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the other issue, because the women are the women who run the home, because the men sometimes were very absent.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that because you have two people in the home that they're doing the job that they're supposed to do.
Right.
So again, that fails the young man. So when the young man grows up, he now thinks that's the same way he should behave. So he may have a woman at home, and I'm going to give an example. I remember when I was younger, my sister-in-law and myself went out. And there were two gentlemen trying to pick us up. And when they realized we were married, they asked us, why are you out? Where's your husband? And I said, why you here? Because we weren't doing anything bad.
Right.
We were out at the time. There was a Caribbean club, and we were at the Caribbean club. And my sister, she and I was married. But at the same time, they wanted to know why we were here. And I said, why you here? Where is your wife? So a lot of them usually went about doing other things. And the women were the ones who were stationed at home. And I don't think that it was that they're trying to be mean, because after we started to talk, they realized that it was very important to be home, because by now I think no one had that conversation where they had two people that respect, we're having a conversation that we're having now on grounds that we felt safe and we respected each other. So when we started to talk, they realized that it was important for them to be home, just like how they're asking us why we weren't home. And so that they could groom their daughters and they could groom the men in the family. So I think that's some of the issues that we have, is even although the men are in the home and they're absent also in the home.
And I want to point out how, kind of what Colin was saying, how it's beautiful, because there was a time where Black women were just so angry. We were so angry at our Black men for leaving us with so much responsibility for everything that was going on, for their behavior, for their trauma, how it affects us as women and our children. We were just so angry. And if you would have asked this question, a while back, there would have been that savage response of they're useless, they get into trouble and all this. But Black women actually care about our men.
Yes, we do.
We really sincerely care about our men. We are hard on our men because we care about our men.
Yeah.
We care about our children. We care about our communities.
Yes.
And so even the direction that the conversation is going is so beautiful, because it's truly, we are speaking from a place of, what is that?
Truth.
Something criticism, positive criticism. What is that word where you correct criticism? Not criticism, but criticism that corrects you for the reason of empowering you.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're really trying to empower,
yeah.
Because we're getting to the root of things. We're not just going and saying that, because I'm pretty sure, I've had experiences of men that were just you can call them useless. You're like, what are you doing here? Why aren't you protecting me? I don't feel like you're protecting me. But if you go to the root of that, he doesn't
broken.
know
They
how.
don't know
they're
how.
broken.
They
Right.
don't.
They don't know how to.
They don't.
They don't know
And then they
how
throw everything
to.
on you and expecting you to pick it up, and then you're sitting there lost and confused, what just happened? Is it me? Is it me? And if you have to question yourself in a relationship and you know you didn't do anything, then it's not the right relationship for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we have to recognize that if you don't know how to do something, you can't expect anything.
Yes.
You can't expect the proper, for the person to do the right thing,
Yes,
because you just don't know.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the communication. Men
Exactly.
don't like to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you see it all the time, even in movies and shows. You'll see them lost. And who's the first person to ask for direction? It's not a man.
It's not.
A man
Oh
won't ask
my
for-
goodness.
Right. And where do they even go for those directions?
Yes.
Especially when it comes to relationships, a lot of families, if they're there, they're absent. Sometimes the advice that you're getting, that they're going to be getting, is so outdated, unrelevant, and based
It's
on the
negative.
results that they want to receive, it is not the right advice to take in. So where does a man go when they want to learn about being a man?
Well,
in a
you know what? Let me
relationship?
jump in where men go, right? So, I mean, we hang out with other men, of course, right?
Okay.
And depending on the circumstances, right? That's how the natures of the conversation is going to go, right? So if another man isn't talking about doing the good things that he's supposed to be doing, then the conversation doesn't really go there. It's not like as guys we sit down and say, oh, by the way, what's a good way to go about something? only when we're in trouble, right? Or maybe I should just talk about myself before I have guys talking and say, well, you should be speaking for us, right? When we're in trouble, we ask our friends, how do we get out of trouble, right? We get that kind of advice, depending on the ages and what settings you're in, right? when I was DJing, for instance, right? And our conversations weren't really as deep about relationships as it should be, right? Our conversations were around the party, and more partying, right? So, and if you're spending time there, obviously you're not getting the wholesome advice that you should be getting, right? And if you get caught up in it, right, then you're definitely not going to get the advice, right? And so whilst you're in that, once again about your surroundings, whilst you're in those surroundings, right, then your mind is just on those surroundings, not on anything else, until something brings you back into not reality, but into that aspect, right? So once again, that gets into being a product of your surroundings, right? On a whole, when guys go out and we talk Caribbean community, right? Let's take a Caribbean community at home. We go down the lane, it's few drinks, it's this and that. On a Sunday or certain days, it's soccer or football, whichever one you want to call it, right? Because that's big, right? Everybody goes from you're in high school. From you're in high school, you especially in Jamaica, it's all about soccer, right? Once again, it's about sports. It's about all the fun things in life, not necessarily the seriousness, right? The seriousness is so much later on, right?
So there's nowhere for them to go.
Oh, I was gonna ask that. So
Yeah, 'cause
when you're talking about it, it's like you're sticking to the one click. It's as if you're looking for a yes man to whatever question that you're asking. Like, is this a good thing for me to do in a relationship? Have any of you actually sought professional help? Because I don't see a lot of us in our community
Well, I'm
seeking
let
counseling.
me talk for myself. Like I said, for myself, no, because at that time, depending on where you are in life, it's not something. It's not something you think about a lot. And we touched on this with mental health, right? In certain environments, right, the reaching out for help is not looked on as being very manly.
So is it a shame? Do you feel ashamed? Or you just don't having your
I
business out
think,
there?
well,
It's
now you're going to
cultural.
are we talking about now or are we going to talk about then?
Yeah, then it
it's
was.
yeah, because you look around and no other guys going and asking for help,
Yeah.
right? So you're not about to be like, it's not looked on as being a big man if you go out and looking for help. And let's talk about the big man complex, right? In Jamaica, it's all about the big man complex, right? We're not going to go ask for help when nobody else is asking for help.
And in a black society, and especially I can only speak for Jamaica more so, and we are all from different, areas. Jamaican men are not going to go seek help. For mental health. The women don't even want to seek for mental
Right.
health. The moment you hear mental health,
Right.
you're crazy.
Right.
You're running around naked. That's what we saw in that, So that was not something. Now the younger generation are coming into
Yeah.
going seeking for help. But still the men are low percentage because the moment you say mental health, people have a visual.
Yeah.
The visual is I'm homeless, I'm sleeping on the road.
Or you're crazy.
I am crazy. I am talking to myself. I don't live somewhere. I don't have family, because that's what they see. So that word, and it has a stigma. The moment you say you're mental, anything to do with mental health in the black community, that means stay far.
Exactly. Right.
Stay far.
We were also
Right.
taught to
But bringing it
whatever
back to
stays in our house
relationships.
stays in our house, and you can't talk it to nobody else too. So
Yeah.
we still have that in our background where we're like, whatever's in our home,
Is-
no one
Stays
needs
in
to know
our
in
home, yeah.
So you're always stuck with that fear or that
fear. That's
confusion.
Privacy.
Yeah.
We have privacy.
Think about a man, and I'm get back to the man aspect of it, right? When a man goes out and says to his friends, and he goes out at that time, I'm having problems with my relationship. Automatically,
Looks
and
weak.
in a Jamaican
You look
society,
weak.
it look like
You're weak.
You're weak.
You're weak.
That's exactly how it's gonna come out.
And the woman thinks you're weak too.
You mean you're weak? You're weak.
And the woman thinks you're weak
right.
too.
That's how. And we're gonna talk about it. I'm talking
pride.
from a
Your pride is
Jamaican
killing you guys.
Seriously.
It's your pride.
perspective,
Pride.
right?
Pride.
Your
Absolutely.
pride is killing you guys.
Right.
When the pride is rooted in
But
insecurity.
it's and you know what? And it might be the Jamaican perspective, but I'm gonna tell you. Lived in Guyana, it was a Guyanese perspective as well.
Yeah.
Talking to and you
A lot of
talked about
blacks.
the African
Yeah.
perspective, and some of it is it's the same,
Absolutely.
regardless of which country or which continent. Some of it is the same. Is that yeah, the man going out and saying, admitting that he's failing, right? Just the stigma alone to the man himself. He knows he's looking around, and nobody else is addressing it at that time. Now, thankfully, in 2020 and 2021, there's a little bit of change.
Right.
COVID allowed certain things to happen. And in the depths of COVID, there's certain harsh realities that came out, and people got to see things really closer, and things are being talked about in a different way. Now, I think the thing for us is to continue those conversations
Yes.
until it gets to a point where we're kind of like, guys, you know what? And not only guys, whoever, if you have a problem, let's try to deal with it. Let's try to deal with it, because every way you turn, it's there. You can't, you know what? Put your head under, be an ostrich, put your head in the sand, hide under a rock or anything like that, right? But that is one of the biggest issues that face us, and unfortunately trickles down, like not only in mental health, but back down to relationships, right? Then you have all the other sub factors, and I'm going to talk about the sub factors, you know, the little lies that men tell and everybody tells, and society has gone so far now that what started off as a man problem is now even women now are
You guys
women
come
now
to
are
us
now playing the
broken.
man's role to a certain extent.
Women, honestly,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but women don't help the situation either.
Some.
Many.
Some.
Because I feel like we are a mirror of our men. If you are in a okay, this is I don't know. If
Oh man, I think you're gonna be me and I'm gonna be you for a minute. Let's go.
Because when you're in a relationship and it's toxic,
Yes.
only a toxic person can be in a relationship with a toxic person. Whether it's, of course, one can be more abusive and one can be more submissive. However, it's both. They can't get help, and it's just
Everybody's
more
broken.
Exactly.
And we're just
exactly.
helping,
and
we're
we're
just-
teaching them that this is okay.
And before we heal, we're jumping to another relationship because some of us don't want to be alone, and
Exactly.
it's a very
Exactly.
tormenting circle.
Exactly. So I don't think it's definitely not just the man.
Yes.
It's
Of
the
course,
women,
the
yeah.
man has men have their role to play, and if I could say anything, it just makes me really sad sometimes when our men don't realize how amazing they truly are, regardless of how the world has tried to beat our men down, regardless of, the reality that in names and labels and titles that have been placed on them, regardless of what they've had to do when they were stuck in a situation and what that backlashed into, regardless of the trauma that I love our black men, I really do, and I have so much hope for what we are able to accomplish together as black women, black men, because the change happens within the family, right?
Yes,
that
within the
generational
family,
curse that
yeah,
we're
the
talking
generation
about,
curse,
it
yeah.
happens within the family. It happens right now. What's the next step? Okay, here are these men that are failing in relationships. what's the next step, you know? Like, what do you do then? Because now we're talking about all of these things
But
that they don't have.
I think for men, and I know Colin is here because he's the man of the hour. But I think for us as women who are mothers that are raising male children, we need to set certain examples, like for who we are bringing into our homes.
Absolutely.
Even female
Because
children.
that's important. Because that child is going to look at that male figure and he's going to mirror the behaviors of that male. The other thing that is another issue. We need to have conversations before we get in relationships. And I think with black women, we don't tend to have the conversations, the true
Seriously?
conversations.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Does
It's-
anybody have hold on? Not just does anybody actually have conversations?
Yes,
Wait,
people
oh,
do.
we do. Yes,
But
they
some
do.
people, some people
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I find sometimes we're selective. We
Select-
see more of the good than the bad, and when we get caught in a
Exactly.
situation, we're like, oh yeah,
Right, and
Yeah.
it's not
It was
just
right
conversation,
there.
but it's those right questions, not the
Yes.
conversation that, oh, we're vibing.
And
this
that's
is a
why I
great
was just going to
vibe.
tell Colin interrupted me. It's not just conversation like off the top of your head. It's you know, are you willing to go for counseling if there is an issue? How do you see this family structure being? Are you willing to fight for this relationship and go the extra mile? We need to ask questions that are relevant to what we want out of that relationship. But as black women, and I'm speaking also for, I'm the youngest on the panel today. Someone is coughing over here. I don't know what's wrong with this person over here. But you know, we need to really truly speak what we want from a relationship.
What if you do?
Because if we don't know what we want, how do we expect that man to bring forth certain
Or
things?
how do you know how to reject that man?
and hold on,
I've
you
always
know what I'm gonna
told
talk
what I
about.
wanted up front. I've always said, this is it, yes or no, keep it or leave it or move. But then they agree to it, and then you get into it, and it's like they get comfortable, and then all of a sudden, everything that they said they were going to do or agreed on has gone left.
But
Yeah,
you
but
have
it's the same
to.
thing.
But
Same
you have
thing
to
with, I'm going to say the same thing with women too.
Yeah, but what I'm going to say to you, you need. I always say there is red flags, and sometimes
Yes.
as black women, we do not watch the flags.
Yeah.
We see it and we make excuse for it. We can fix it. We can, you know, and sometimes we have people who are saying to you, something is not right, something is not right. You know, because black women are good with intuition.
Yeah, we
But
are.
we make excuse
Yes, we fall in
for
love
the
with
issue.
potential.
Men do it too. You know how many times that you would have a friend and a friend tell you that, yo, you know what, this girl isn't good for you, right? And sometimes we get caught up and think it's jealousy that the other man wants her or your friend might want or whatever. And they'll say, you know what, when people get caught up, they literally get caught up.
But when I say your friends, you know, I know when someone is, you know, black, I can speak for a woman.
Yes.
You know when somebody's telling the truth. You may use a different
Right.
language.
Yes.
But you know. It's just that you don't want to see it. I've always said to my friends, if I meet someone and you see the red flags, take the frying pan and hit me so I am unconscious. And then when I get up back on that ground, then we'll have that conversation again. Because we know inside of us, but as black women, we think we can fix it. As you said, we are nurturing. We think we can fix it. Oh, it's just a small problem.
Yeah.
But if you're asking the right questions and you see the flags, don't go there. Don't go there.
And then if they
Right.
go there, don't get mad afterwards.
Don't
because
get mad.
Then
Well, you
you know
stepped
what?
in it.
I want to. Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
You stepped
You know
in
how
it.
many women, and this is a true fact. We all know it, right? Because now we're, you know, that's why it's real talk. So
Real talk, real talk.
I get to get about this real talk. Women know that, you know, the man isn't right, and they continue. And like you said, women are the great fixers.
They're fixed.
They can fix
Anything.
They can fix everything.
solve everything.
Right? They can solve
Right,
everything.
right,
Right?
right.
But when it gets down and it's too far gone, then they're ready to kill the man.
Yeah.
They're ready to kill the man, right?
Exactly.
But I'm gonna hold up there. You know what? I gotta say thank you to the people that, and there were two people that were online watching the program, and told us that the sound had kicked out. So yes, thank you for letting us know. We did have actually the sound and the video kicked out. It just actually, I looked over and it was gone for a minute, and I know we started off with it, so technical difficulties. So thank you to the people that were watching and said, hey, you know what? So we are back. We are good. For those that I think there was a few minutes then when they didn't hear the conversation, but as you should be able to follow, the conversations is about relationships, right? And we started off talking about 5 reasons why men fail in a relationship. We might have gotten more than 5, less than 5, well, I'm going to say more. By the laughter, by the faces I'm seeing, the smiling faces, it means we went beyond 5. Mm-hmm. But let me stick up for my men right here. I got one good point that I'm going on, and that point is when women decide that they can fix a man.
Oh, come on.
You mean I can't take that point?
No.
Of course I'm going to take that point. I'm a man. Let me stick up for my men and take that point.
That is a very...
It does happen.
I know.
It does
Why
happen.
do you allow it to happen? Are you not...
Hold on.
How are you going to... You are proud to say that, no, it's your fault because you try and fix me.
No. I'm not saying that men go out and say it, but at the same time, you know what? I'm just saying what, and I'm going to pass on to Pastor Charmaine. Thank you for opening up this. Thank you for opening it up, right? But it's a fact. I'm not... You know what? It's a fact like all the other facts.
Okay.
It is a fact like all the other ones. I didn't say any...
It's just different when we say it. And then when you said it out of your mouth, I was like, I don't like it.
Oh, okay. So it's all right for y'all to admit it, but I can't
It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
It's how you say it.
It's how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say
It's
it.
how you say it.
But I'm also, if you notice, I've also switched places with Evody and dealt with things that men do too, right? And she's switched over just a tiny bit and defended a man in a way. But I've also admitted, I've gone on record and admitted to mine, right? Not speaking for any other man, but speaking for myself and say, yeah, there are things I've been wrong about, and I'm not.
And I don't think it's that. I think it's we're taking accountability.
Yes.
When you say it sounds like you're blaming. Like, well, only because you're a man. Because you're and I know you're not coming from that place, but any other man that goes out there and says, well, women try and fix us, like, that's not a conversation that men can have without it sounding like they're trying to shift blame.
No,
Whereas
because usually when it comes up like that,
mm-hmm.
right? It's usually a man's under attack, and a lot of things go on when men get under attack. You know how that goes, right? As soon as a man comes under attack, he's like, or some men, when they come under attack, I can never ever say all men, they shift back, right?
Shift blame.
They shift the blame back, right? So it all depends. I've been in relationships where when things get thrown at me, I'm looking for defense, I'm looking for cover, right? Likewise, I've been in a relationship where I said something to somebody and automatically they look for cover and they look to shift it back on me, right? And these are just aspects of things that cause relationships to go wrong. Women are women gonna say that men do it more. I don't know who does it more, right? I know we do it, right? I know women do it. It's like I said, it's not about who does it more, but I do think that on a whole, maybe not so much this generation. When I get into this generation and maybe the last generation, there's been a profound shift,
Yes.
right? There's been a profound shift. And some people say the shift happened because it's about time for women, right? Some people do hold that. I'm not going to subscribe to whichever theory, but there has been a shift, and women have said, enough is enough. They're going to do the same thing, and they've been doing it for a while, and they do it better than men. And I'll be the first to tell you, women can do it better than men, right?
Amen.
Yeah, see? Oh, wow.
I'm just saying.
They can do it better than men.
Is it the right thing? Not always, but.
But the truth is, things have gone on for so long, right? That now some men are in the position that women were in, right? and women are in a position. Some women are in the position that men were in, right?
I think both sides are tired. I think we're just tired.
Yeah, we're tired.
It comes to the point where it's like, how much can we take? How much can we do? There's a lot of men who are calling themselves men, but they're literally little boys.
Yeah.
So it's how much are we willing to take? How much can we take? And when is enough is enough?
And that sounds like personal, like I think that's why even in my generation and coming up, we're so into personal development, personal growth, going inward, healing,
Self-awareness,
self-awareness,
self-love,
self-actualization, self-love,
affirmations. Yes.
Exactly. We're so into that because we see another one generation that is like blind to the fact that they're both at fault here. We don't know where to on this side or on this side. I'm seeing that I'm like, okay, there's certain things here that I don't like, certain things here that I don't like. I'm seeing how it's affecting me, how I've adapted certain things, and because I don't know where to go, I'm like, let me just kind of work on myself. You know, let me just kind of work on myself. And even when it comes to with men as well, being able to, like, men, we give you permission, go work on yourself. You know, go work on, it's okay to go work on yourself. We don't hate you. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you, you know, almost like grow an identity for yourself, like create a name for yourself. You are not what, you know, the Jamaican culture says you are. You're not what the African culture says you are, because sometimes we attach ourselves to black culture, which is so toxic, or you're not what society says you are, which is scary and this and that. You can literally decide who you want to be for yourself. And me as a woman, I'm looking at you and I'm saying, I will not see you as weak for going to help yourself. I'm not going to see you as weak for going and learning and growing and healing, going through that process of becoming better so that you will be better for your family. Because if you don't stop in your tracks, you're going to keep going. You know, like I tried to heal together in a toxic relationship. It took me another 2 years of toxicity, and you know, by the end of it, I was like, okay, we just got to be on our own.
Yeah, because healing comes, you have to recognize that you need to be healed.
Right.
You can't make someone, you know, go for healing. So, you know, you can't heal together. You have to, you know, it has to be an agreement that I need help.
Exactly.
Right? The other person has to be accepting as well. Because I've tried it, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I think I need some space. And it turned around where he turned around and said, you abandoned me. And I'm like, no, I needed some space. And that's the time where you're supposed to heal yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes depending how the person reciprocates it or it comes to them in their end, it seems like abandonment or something negative, or like, oh, they want to go and sleep with somebody else, so I'm going to do the same thing. And they're not understanding that, no, you need to heal.
Then they were never going to understand.
Yeah, you need to heal. Like,
they were never going to, because that gets toxic, because that's manipulation. That's trying to, like, they're still trying to bring you back into that toxicity. So again, for women, being able to actually get out of that and not go back. And for men, like I don't know, man. I'm not a man, so I don't even know how to conclude that. I think you should just conclude.
I can only speak for women, and when I look at relationships, because I've seen different relationships, is that a woman has to come to a point in time that she says, what can I live with? Right? What can you live with? What's the bottom line? And if you come to that place where your bottom line is, you know, you're going below your bottom line, then there is a problem. You're losing your self-worth. You're going to lose who you are. You're going to lose your identity, because you're going to try to save this person because you've gone below your bottom line. And this person is not ready to change. You can only change you.
Definitely.
So for me, I think when you see that, you can only say to this person, you need help.
Yes.
But I'm not able to help you.
Yeah,
I love you, but I'm not able to help you. So this is what I can do for you. I can give you a list of places to go. I can be supportive if you want to go, but I cannot live like this.
Do you set a
So when
deadline?
you get ready and you're ready to change, then you can come back when you're working on this or when you have worked on this.
And do you set deadlines for whatever tasks you have them do?
Well, that becomes kind of micromanaging.
No, I'm not micromanaging you.
Like, I mean, in the sense of, okay, so, but here's the thing. I mean, it doesn't have to be deadlines where they specifically know, but deadlines for yourself, like if I don't see this person changing in the next 3-4 months, then I know they're not serious.
I don't think that's realistic though, because
Change takes a while, because even for us, it takes
Well, hold on.
a while.
Well, let's
but the
talk
person
2021.
must want to work on change,
But
and
let's
you
talk
must see it.
2021. 2021, do people invest that kind of time in people?
Yes.
yeah, there's
If
like
you
Hold
care.
on.
there's a
I just,
generation that does.
There's
all
all right. They are
generations.
right.
There's a
all right.
generation
No,
that-
No, no, no.
That's exactly why I brought it up, because there you
'Cause that's
said
what I've done
there
deadlines, and I'm
is
like,
a
oh.
generation that does. There's two generations that don't. Right? 2021, right? Some of the things that that Pastor Charmaine just talked about is things that I would say more or less would happen in my generation.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. And I'm the generation under Pastor Charmaine.
So you're also the second youngest?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And for anybody that thinks I just took a shot at Pastor Charmaine, I'm taking shots at anybody right now. And this has been a long time coming, so sometimes I use this show to get back at people. So I just use that to get back at Pastor Charmaine, who despite her title always bads me up on a semi-regular basis. But the real truth is yes, that's an older generation kind of deal, right? The younger generation not putting out that kind of time, and it's because we're like the younger. I call them the microwave generation, right?
Quick.
Because that's how time is gone. Nobody wants to invest time into people nowadays in that aspect in relationships.
And we have more information available to us on, for example, something happens and it's a whole movement. Movements are moving like crazy. Someone gets abused, like in the Congolese community, there was some famous person that was abused. All of the young Congolese people were posting about it, learning about abuse, now having talk shows about abuse. Now people are now reflecting, and we're doing it in a different way. So
Yeah.
like there's so much more information for
But
us
it's
to
still
draw
quick
from.
though. But it's
And
still,
it's speed.
but people are still making
Yes,
quick decisions.
exactly.
It's like, okay, yeah, oh, this is it. All right, I'm out.
Exactly.
That's it. It's not let me be my grandparents or my parents and let me talk about.
No,
oh
we don't
yeah,
got time
I'm
for
gonna
that.
invest time and work.
Yeah, keep
work
it moving.
Work
Keep
on
it
stuff.
moving.
Keep it moving.
Keep it
On to
moving.
the next.
See?
What's the famous saying?
Yeah.
What you don't do, someone else will.
Well, yeah.
So then, not saying anything wrong. Then what Pastor Charmaine says is not going. It doesn't hold value. Not that it doesn't hold value. It holds a lot of value. But in today's society, how much value does it really hold?
But you have to look at the generation too, because there's
How do we
ones
get
that
there?
are in their 30s that are professional people that will speak
Still.
the way I speak a while ago, will think that way. Now the other ones that are a little younger, maybe not professional,
I'm not
are
even-
not even going to look at that.
Hold on. You know what? And I put the 30. I put the 30.
30, 40s, yeah.
No. I'm gonna say after 35 maybe,
Yeah.
but the 30. And the reason I'm gonna talk about the 30s is because once again I'm gonna get back to my DJ background. There's a lot of people right now that in their that are like 30 years so that actually grew up with me when I was, I started when I was in London. I was doing the all ages and stuff, and they blah blah blah. And then I moved on they moved on with me to 19 and over, and there's quite a few of them are like in their early 30s right now, and you could see the change. So if you say 30, I'm gonna have to say you're gonna probably have to start at 35, because even on that, right at that 30 mark, there's still a lot that are in that almost microwave division over there, because times it started to change. Time didn't just start changing. As much as I say 2021, you can actually go back to
Yeah.
2015,
Yep.
20.
And
20.
how society has changed
Yes,
also.
yes.
We don't necessarily need, like, society has made it so we don't kind of need a man in the house, especially as black women. That's a whole nother episode. But they've made it so that we're good on our own.
Yeah.
And because of that,
Yeah.
we're not taking any sort of nonsense. So like there's that quick, okay, next, and in a way, like there's more accessible to us, so we know what we want more easily. You know, it's not my parents did this, so I'm gonna do this. Like, there's a lot of things more accessible. Society and life has changed, so the dynamic of how we operate as in relationships has changed. I don't want someone necessarily better. I want someone that I can grow with now. You know, not someone to take care of me, but someone I can build with.
But I'm just going to say something to you. And what you said about the women my age group, a lot of women my age group have been single. I've raised children. I'm one of those products. And I know other women in my age group that has been products of women who have raised children on their own. Black women have been doing this for years. This is nothing new, right? In whatever age, we have been doing that.
Right,
just like what you
right,
said.
yeah.
The only difference, we may not have them coming in and out. We may be a little bit slower in taking a new one in. You guys maybe change it every 2 months. We might take a year.
And that's where I'm going. You know,
There's a
society
difference,
is such as with the blowing up of social media, and let's talk about all the dating sites that's out there nowadays. You're like this, yeah. All right, you know what? Nah, out.
Right.
That's it.
This swipe,
Right through,
swipe
right through,
Tinder.
right through, right through, right through.
Yeah.
Plenty
right
of
through.
fish.
Right.
There are some serial daters that hang out
Seriously.
on dating sites, right? And they all on, and men and women, they're on every site, and they're just like bam, 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 1, 2,
You
1,
know what?
2,
It's
1,
just
2.
another extreme. I
Just-
thought it was better. It's another extreme.
Exactly.
Just another-
It just bumped up.
I think
Right.
people take on people based on their life situation.
Yes.
Sometimes when
Yes.
people are like, you know what, I've had enough of the playing of the games and all these, I want someone good, and they
Right.
take time and they realize, or if they just want something quick and fun. then
Right.
they-
So if
they
you
base it
and
on
then
that.
all of a sudden, if you change 3 years later, he or she is out too.
That's life.
But it is though. You might not say, but
Okay, well then you know what? Then we have to define relationship, because I guess I'm a little bit old school in the sense where, like, I do take my time,
Right.
only because when I'm in a relationship, why are we in a relationship? I'm not in a relationship to have fun. I can have fun with friends. I'm not in a relationship just to, like, what is this? We're building something for life, a legacy. Like, we're building something, especially with what we have today. There's so much opportunities. Come build with me. Yeah, if I change in 3 years, that's a part of my character development to be able to, unless you become toxic and
Yes.
unless you become abusive, then we can separate. But I'm not just going to drop you. Like, you don't just drop people. In this generation, absolutely, because there's no staying power. There's
Exactly.
no resiliency.
No.
Like, you just leave.
It's a new
friends
thing.
with-
There's a new thing.
Yeah.
It's a new thing down the block.
Yeah.
I call it
and
situationships.
that's you know what?
Entanglements.
I'm thankful for old school Evodi over there. Evodi, I'm thankful for old school Evodi over there, right? But there's a lot of new school people that as soon as anything, any kind of change, once again, it's like disposable. We're in a
Yeah, it's a
disposable
disposable society.
We're just a
Yeah.
disposable society,
Society, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're
My-
seeing people that you grew up with or you loved or you admire, and they're going through one person after the next, after the next. Like
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian is like, she had a marriage for what, 30 days?
Right.
And as we said, it was the TV. The TV has educated a lot of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Influenced. Yeah.
Yeah, it influenced a lot of us, right?
And you know what? That Cosby scenario is so far gone, right? You know what I mean? And people, I'm not calling the Cosby because of Bill Cosby. I'm just talking about what the show,
The family unit,
what
yeah.
what the dynamic of the show is. This is not about a personal reference to him, but what the show was, right? That was like, you know, the wholesome, right?
Yeah.
Nah, the wholesome family nowadays is most likely
Oh, gosh.
a single parent.
Yeah.
Right. That's the accepted norm, is a single parent. Really and truly, that is right.
But that was the point. That's another show for another day, but that was the whole point, to break the black family, because that's the only way that we can be conquered, is if the black family is broken.
All
That's
right.
another show.
That's a whole nother show.
And a lot of us
another
never
topic.
signed up to be single parents. It happened to
That's
be that
another
way. So.
topic.
It was intentional.
It was
super
intentional.
intentional.
People, anybody that's listening to the show, Evodi just made a point. If you agree or disagree, hit us up on the live and let us know, because we are going to make another show out of it. So let's say, we're going to get back after this show. We're going to plan out our next few shows. We're going to continue with the relationship aspect. And, of course, next week, I believe Ivodi had her show planned where she was supposed to have all the ladies. Are you going to be doing that next week? Are we going to hold it off for another week and continue on the relationship? When are we going to have because I was in the frame of mind where I was getting kicked off, and then, I've been in that frame of mind for like the last 2 weeks. I don't know how long I can hold out.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to put something together because I want a couple of them. Because you see how we have these shows.
Yes.
And it turns into something else and something else and something else. And I want us women to be able to really go in on these topics and have that freedom to know, okay, next week we're doing the same thing.
The key.
On a different thing. So being able to have that organized and all that, that's important for me. So I think we'll wait one more week, and then from there, you won't see him anymore.
You see, that's what I was about to get. I was about to give the Evo D translation. I got to talk to Colin and let him know that he can't be around for a couple weeks. I don't know how that's going to go over because he's a man and I might bruise his ego. So I got to give it another week so I can have this conversation.
Right.
Did I get the right translation?
Yeah, we're repairing your mental health.
Yeah.
To get rid of you.
People, this is how people suffer. This is a actual mental health breakdown. I'm gonna have a breakdown at the end of this show, right? Ladies, my guys have been they've been telling me it's like 2 or 3 minutes to go, right? Is it 2 minutes left or something like that? Oh,
Long before.
did you see the look on that face? People, I have a cameraman here, and he's looking at me, and he's like, "Yo, your time has been done for so long. I can only take this." I got another cameraman who's holding his side, his back, and everything is.
You'll be getting a raise.
Who? Oh man, do I have to cover up the mic to say I believe in child? And for those that don't know, I'm a parent. I've got the kids working on the show. They're the camera people and all that. So yes, I don't appreciate you talking to them about raise. If you're going to talk about raise, can we do this after so I don't get put on the spot? This has been another edition of Real Talk, Straight Talk. I got to thank a few people before we go. Obviously, Pastor Charmaine, who only here every so often. Thank you, of course. Thank you for allowing me to take a shot at you. Well, I took my shot, not that you allowed me, but I took it anyway.
She was here last week, but she was babysitting for me. Thank you.
Yes. We got. Oh, Pastor Charmaine was here last week. She was supposed to be on, but she turned into a babysitter for Tammy. So thank you. You know what? That's gonna get some good graces. People don't mind me. I'm only can take these shots because she's going to get me. Don't let the title of pastor fool you, right? I am going to get what's coming to me. So it is what it is. Tammy, thank you. This is your second week.
Yep.
You're
welcome.
She's doing a great
what's my
job.
no, I'm not even gonna get into my nickname for Tammy, right? My co-host, Ivodi. Thank you again. Glad to have you back.
Yeah. Oh, I had a rash that showed up out of nowhere, all over my face, my eyes, and then the next day it came on my neck, my ears. I was like, I'm not leaving my house.
And that's why this is called Real Talk, Straight Talk, because, we talk everything here. What you're getting is our after the show talk when we start talking the other stuff. We actually just included it because nobody hit that off-air button. But we're going to hit that off-air button soon. Once again, I want to thank everybody for being a part of the show. Thanks to the people that alerted me. Big shouts to Star and Maria. I just had the best week. I actually took a week and was with my daughter and granddaughter. Forget the daughter, I mean my granddaughter. That was the whole. No, I can't say forget. Oh man, I'm gonna pay for that one, right? I was with my granddaughter for like the whole week. Unfortunately, she was sick, right? That's why I had to do the grandfatherly thing. She was sick. but she went to the doctor today. She's healthy. She's good. She's smiling. So, yeah. All right. Miss Maria Dig. Yep, Pops is here. All right. So, for everybody else, I'll see you next week. This show will be broadcast on Thursday from 7 to 8. And then after that, it goes on YouTube. For everybody else, I'll see you all next week. To my camera guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We out. Blackout.
Like a little bit more peace,
Yeah, that's facts.
you know.